Welcome to Trustee Talk. I thank you for joining us. I'm Dick Murgatroyd, and our guest today is Anderson Township Trustee Andrew Pappas.
Why do you always
Why
laugh?
do I always laugh whenever I say
Always
that?
laugh.
Anyway, but because you bring
just
great
smiling.
great joy.
I'm a
to
joy
my,
giver.
To my
It's
day.
what I
You
do.
are.
I
You
give
are.
joy.
Anyway, so
Giver
welcome
of
back
joy.
to Trustee Talk.
Take two.
I've missed you. I've missed you.
We're supposed to do lunch.
I know, we're going to do that.
I do enjoy this. I mean, the first trustee talks the first couple of times, didn't really know what to expect. Maybe the first time, but literally after the first 5 minutes, it became very comfortable. I think I was horrible at the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm less horrible now.
You are.
Thank
You
you.
are. Yeah.
Take that to the bank.
You're making progress.
Baby steps.
That would be great. Liz, I want to talk to you. This is going to be on in October, but I want to talk to you about September because I understand that you were very much involved during the two hurricanes with Matthew 25, and you did a lot of things to. One of those people that stepped up to the plate and helped get a lot of stuff together for them to be able to take down to the Texas and Florida.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Obviously, no one was prepared for the level of destruction that Houston sustained. That was a truly epic event.
Yeah.
Once, I believe I've read once in a 1,000-year rain totals, something like that. Well in excess of what anybody could have forecast or designed for. So, having family there, I was readily aware of the problems they were having, and I saw on the news the flooding, and it just, it really grips you because I think Houston right now is the third or fourth largest metropolitan area in the United States.
It is.
So we immediately put the call out through Facebook and social media to start gathering items from local people to take to Matthew 25 Industries and Salvation Army, whatever you would prefer. I encourage people to make donations to whomever. There's a lot of great organizations out. I don't mean to single any one out in particular, but we were able to contact Matthew 25 and make sure that whatever we gathered was going to be used, because nothing is more frustrating than to hear you donated something and either it wasn't used or it was thrown away or they really didn't need it and it made you feel good, but it didn't really make anyone else feel good.
It didn't get anywhere.
Didn't get anywhere. So a lot of people can't get to Matthew 25 or arrange for them to either come to your house or whatever. It's not necessarily a hassle, but it adds a step in the process. Having two commercial locations, one in Anderson here that we've been here forever and one in Hyde Park as well, I said, you know what? Let's open up my business as a drop-off for items that you wanted to donate. I didn't expect the amount of response that we got. And it's a testament to the good people here in Cincinnati, the good people in Anderson Township. It's truly reflective of the heart of this community and the heart of this area. People saw people suffering. They decided to open up their houses, clean out what they didn't want or didn't need anymore or just was not being used to its full potential, and they donated it. And I've been totally blown away. It is still going on. Yesterday, I took, I don't know what load it was, to be honest, Dick, I lose count. I think we've unloaded 10 or 12. They know me on site there. There's not many ambulances that pull up. And the main thing is that it's still being well volunteered by citizens at Matthew 25, meaning when you go there and you drop stuff off, you see people in yellow vests. Those are all volunteers.
Yeah.
And when I went there Labor Day on Monday, it was wall-to-wall people. And they know me enough to know that I pull into a little bit of a special area because rather than having one or two bags, it takes a while to unload an ambulance full of clothes. Picture a 10 by 12 room, floor to ceiling, side to side, filled with bags and hangers. So I usually pull off to the side and we begin the process of unloading. And it takes a little while. Now, I was a little bit, I was happy and sad one of the times I went, because usually I'm the biggest vehicle there. But there was a school district there that had a fill the bus campaign.
Oh,
and so they had a whole school bus. Now, it wasn't full to the roof, but every seat had, and the aisle was full. So I had to get behind him. But I was happy that, someone had shown the foresight to say, hey, let's use these big vehicles rather than show up in a car with 1 or 2 bags.
Well, yeah, because you can't get that much in a car.
Can't get that much in there.
No.
And it's been a phenomenal, they'll use, there's still a great demand, so I don't want, now we've been seeing a drop off, obviously, as
Well,
people
yeah.
have,
Well, it's out of the news now as much
it's out
as
of
it
the
was,
news,
yeah.
but Florida brought it right back in.
Yeah, they did.
We had Irma hit Florida, and although I don't think the devastation was as bad as they may have forecast, it's still pretty bad. And
Oh,
I've
yeah,
seen
it is.
reports from the Keys. So we're still gathering items, and we didn't earmark anything for any particular area or hurricane or anything like that. I just said, there's people in need. If we can
Right.
do something, now most of the comforters that we came in, we went ahead and laundered just out of sanitary reasons, just to make sure they were clean. And so I want to say that to date, now today is, this will air in October, but this is September 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Shane. I think that we're closing in on maybe 30,000 pieces of clothing.
Wow. Well, it's pretty nice.
And
That's
over
really,
100 comforters. I don't even speculate how many pairs of shoes, bottled water, dog food, baby supplies, formula, baby wipes, Pampers, diapers, you name it. We've gotten a little bit of everything. Now, to be frank, some of the stuff, very few, I think, literally less than 5 items I've actually said, you know what, this is useless. We're not gonna donate this. Maybe I saw a Halloween costume in there. That doesn't serve any good.
no.
But if it's clothing related, anything at all, we go ahead and box it up and take it over there. And the ambulance holds a lot of stuff. And that's, you see people that have lost everything.
That's the thing, especially in Texas, because the number of homes that were probably totally destroyed or lost, they lost, and the fact that they lost everything.
Yeah, you had
I mean, they
literally minutes.
All
Now,
they had was what was on their back and maybe a little bag that they took with them. But
yeah, I was watching.
I can't imagine what a person would feel like going through that.
Well, I know people that went through it. I mean, friends. Thankfully, knock on wood, none of my family, direct family, was affected by the flooding, i.e. nothing in their house, but everybody in Houston was affected in some fashion. The amazing thing is that in Texas, for the most part, it showed the really good side of people.
Yes, it did.
My younger brother, my older brother is a mayor down there, and he organized his city to take care of other areas around there that were in need because they weren't as affected. My younger brother went out and bought a John boat, aluminum boat, and started going around his
Did he really?
neighborhood
Yeah.
and picking people up out of his houses. So, but that's normal. There was a great report I shared on Facebook of a Kentucky, one of your fellow statesmen there down in Kentucky, somebody in Kentucky, just got in his boat,
Yeah.
his bass boat, drove to Texas. Pickup truck, gas in the back, and a bass boat. Went down Texas. First place he saw people in need, he started picking them up. That's cool.
Which I think isn't it something something that tragic, because that was probably the worst we've ever seen in the history of this country anyway.
We had, they said, I read online, so it had to be true.
Oh, of course.
They said that the amount of rain in that geographical area was enough to fill a cube 2 miles by 2 miles by 2 miles, square
yeah.
cube. Now that's a lot of rain.
It is.
It had nowhere to go because the Gulf was pushed up, so all that water came down, had nowhere to go, so it went path of least resistance. The sad thing was seeing after the rain stopped out in West Houston, where the reservoirs are, to hold the flood water back. They had to let that out.
Yeah.
So here you are thinking, okay, the skies have cleared, the rain has stopped, I'm
Yeah,
past it,
and
and the water's still coming up because they're letting water out of the reservoir
Which
to
they had to do.
prevent
Yeah.
any future flooding, because had it continued to rain, God knows what would have happened.
Yeah.
You can't have a levee break. So you saw the best of people. You didn't see a whole lot of looting that
No.
I saw.
Sure, they had some, but I think that it's sad that it takes a tragedy like that to bring out the best of people.
It is sad. It is sad that we
Because
can't be decent
all the time. I know. I guess that's the thing, is I think the thing that you saw over and over and over again, and people came, I mean, you're typical of what you did, but they came from all over this country. The guy with his bass boat from Kentucky. I mean,
preacher. He was a preacher.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful story. It's on my Facebook page. I shared the link only because it's such a beautiful story. I encourage anyone in Kentucky that has access to Matt Bevin. That man deserves to be recognized by the state, because he is an asset to your state and the region. But you know, the thing is that I kept it very. This isn't political. You had, and this isn't racial.
No,
you had
right.
whites helping black helping white, helping Hispanic, helping. Nobody
cared
what you were.
No, they didn't.
They just said, "Do you need help?" And they showed up and they helped.
Exactly.
And that's really the way it should be. And I was promoting. I'm on social media. We all know that. Sometimes too much. But it's on your phone.
Yeah.
But I was catching some pushback from the other side saying that tried to make it political. And
Well,
I didn't have any tolerance for that.
No.
Because when things like this happen, it's time for us to just band together.
It is.
And we put politics aside.
It is.
This isn't a president's fault.
No.
This isn't a Congress's fault. This isn't God's fault. This stuff happens. And if we can't band together and help people during times of need, then what good are we?
Exactly.
Now,
and that, I guess that's the thing that's so disturbing, because I'm sure by now, and when this airs, things will be back to so-called normal. You know, and everybody will start to be finding fault with something and looking for things to find fault with, which I guess disturbs me, because when the people in this country, when something like that happens, become a whole different type of people.
yeah.
And become, because we've always been a country that cared.
Well, we are a country, I think, still primarily of people that get things done.
I think
we
we
don't
are,
like to
and I
sit
think
around.
overall there's a lot of good people in this country.
There's a lot
we
of
just
great
don't
people.
We don't hear about them, because the God bless the mainstream media, they don't want to find good in anything.
No,
I mean,
good doesn't sell.
Because that doesn't sell. That doesn't get ratings, and so they have to work very hard to find something wrong with whatever it is, you know. And they will, you know, but there's a point where, for me, I just want to walk away from it. I don't want to see that. I don't care about that.
Well, here's a funny story. We're a nation of doers. We're a nation of entrepreneurs. I saw, everyone was saying that some of the people that were vocal online, and I didn't have any tolerance for it. I shut it down as soon as I saw it, and I told them, I'm not debating you about this. This isn't something I'm going to debate and say, oh, well, you've got a point about that. You know, it's not the time. Maybe later we'll discuss it. But when I saw all the private industry trucks, H-E-B, Sam's, Walmart, private trucks lined up with 18-wheelers ready to roll.
Yep.
That's private industry. That's capitalism. That's called charity and giving back to your fellow man.
Absolutely.
And you know what? That's what this country's about. I
It is.
did not see, now, although the federal government, of course, and the state government plays a role in this.
It did.
For sure they do. Organizing, coordinating, everything about everything. You know, the whole should be run maybe through the federal government, getting camps or places organized for people to go to get out of harm's way. Sure, great. But let's recognize the fact that private industry is faster on its feet than the government. For example, in West Houston, there was an army of private citizens that got John boats, like my brother and numerous other people, and the gentleman from Kentucky, and they went and picked people up out of their houses. Now on whatever day, 3 days later, what shows up? A FEMA truck with 8 brand new boats. Well, I'm not disparaging FEMA.
No.
But there's a lag there between supply and demand on the government side on things such as this in this particular instance. And the private industry is much faster on its feet. Now, this Florida disaster, Irma, I'm in contact right now with a local restaurateur from La Soupe, who is organizing. She wants to make, I think it's, Susie, forgive me, but I don't remember the number of soups that I think it's 500 gallons.
Oh my gosh.
No, no, that might be low, but it might be 5,000 gallons because I think she wants to make 100. But anyway, I'm not sure. But she has an astronomically high number of soup that she wants to make. And she's going to partner with a bunch of local restaurateurs, and they're going to have a series of, I don't know if you'd call it a contest or what it might be, to take either to Florida and or Texas. We're still working out the details on that, and I am not a central figure in that, don't misunderstand me, but she's reached out to me and said, would you be willing to help? You're darn right.
That's
I'll be
right,
willing
absolutely,
to help.
absolutely.
And we're concerned about, everyone is focused on Texas and Florida, but let's not forget, the Caribbean got decimated again.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, yeah. Big time.
there's
Virgin Islands took a real
Virgin
hit.
Islands took a
Real hit.
really hard hit.
Real
St.
hit.
Martin,
Yeah.
Barbados, you name it. All those
Yeah.
islands took a direct hit. So we have a lot of people down there that are suffering, and we need to garner the resources to help those people. That's why I like using organized charities rather than someone saying, I had people say, well, you should load up your truck and drive down there. Why?
No.
Where am I going to go?
Yeah.
I mean, it might make me feel good for a moment. Matthew 25 Ministries, for example. Now, Salvation Army did contact me and they said, listen, we have enough stuff. We have plenty of stuff. Please don't, necessarily bring us anything else right now. But Matthew 25 is still taking it because you know what? They are able to warehouse it, organize it, and they know there's going to be a disaster after this
I
one.
was just going to say, because they go anywhere there is. I mean, that organization is one of the most amazing organizations, which is mostly run by volunteers. I mean, that
And very low overhead.
And very low overhead, and they have the ability, as you said, to warehouse stuff so that they're ready to go the next time there is, and there will be.
Yeah.
They're there, and I mean I've always been so amazed and so impressed with them because they get the job done.
This really people I appreciate them extending their appreciation necessarily for me doing what I've done, but honestly, I don't see it as a big deal. I really don't. I see it as what anybody would do if they had the ability to do it. Now, is it inconvenient? Sure. We have stuff, I have stuff all over. I mean, I come in my business and I like to be fairly organized. I'm not disheveled like I usually appear. There's stuff everywhere. I mean, there's piles of comforters and there's piles of bags of clothes and there's garbage bags of clothes overflowing, and I really that bugs me on one level, but on the other hand, I'm like, I just tell my guys every day, throw it in the ambulance, and once every day or once every other day, we take the ambulance over to Blue Ash, and I hit the alarm or the siren, they know I'm there, and they direct me to a spot. Sometimes I hit the siren when they're not expecting it, but they're just great people over there, and you know what? That's what it's about.
It is.
And because somebody can't, maybe, I encourage everybody, give, I'm not going to say give till it hurts, but if you don't have the ability to write a check or give them a credit card.
And some people don't.
And some people some people simply don't. But they might have a comforter in the basement.
Exactly.
Or some clothing that they're not using anymore. And it can help people. I mean, I've seen constant footage of people, my old college roommate. I mean, when I saw his house get flooded out with 4 feet, first there was 2 feet of water, then there was 4 feet of water, and they said, get out. He didn't really he had a lot of time to maybe raise some items up off of the flood, but not a lot. No. So he left the house. Now it's a 2-story house. I'm sure he didn't lose anything on the second floor, but that causes a significant amount of damage.
It does. And there's no guarantee that the house is going to be structurally sound when it's all over.
The amount of, I've posted some videos, you could see videos, and I'm not focusing on Houston because Florida's going to be, but Florida dodged a bullet of sorts.
They really did. They didn't get
They were forecasting a huge storm surge.
And they did not get that.
They didn't get as big of a surge, which was a total blessing.
Yeah.
People unfortunately lost property and cars and everything else, but I don't think you had the mass inundation of water
No.
that they were expecting.
No. Had they
thank
gotten
God.
that, it would have been a major disaster.
Off the charts.
Yeah, would have been.
Off the
Would have been.
charts.
And
but
it-
it shows you the power of prayer. I mean, for all intents
Absolutely.
and purposes, that storm was. I'm not a storm expert. I'm not going to get into what caused it and any of that. It doesn't really matter. But it was a large storm. Had that hit Miami, I don't know what the damage would have been.
Been huge. Been huge. I mean, Key West. When you think about that whole that area took a real beating, because that's where it hit first.
That's where it hit first.
But they did, because it did change path. A lot of people were really saved from an awful lot of
We have a lot of high rises right there on the
Absolutely.
ocean in Miami, and I'm not a structural engineer. I don't think the buildings would have fallen, but I'm thinking a lot of windows would have been blown out.
Most of them would have been. I think that I had some good friends in Tampa who live in Tampa, and where they lived, their home was built after Andrew when they came up with the new
Great storm name.
requirements. Yeah, but they something connected there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now that I think
remember
about
that
that,
one, yeah.
that was appropriately
Oh,
named.
yeah, that was a bad one. Seems he had an
But I
attitude.
mean, because of that, they were much more protected than and they stayed. They didn't leave.
They stayed.
But they were on the second floor when I talked to them. They said, we're because we don't know. But the surge was a big thing.
Everyone was cheering.
How much damaging that surge would be.
Did it not freak you out when you saw? I mean, because it did me when I saw the ocean disappear.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
And I was like, well, what goes out must come back.
exactly.
And I was like, all that water is piled up somewhere. There's a big bubble of water floating around there somewhere. But listen, it really speaks to the power. I mean, I'm not you've known me a while now.
I've known you a while.
I don't know that I would say I'm a overly religious person, although I do speak the Lord's name a lot. But you know what? It is probably a testament to the power of prayer,
It
because
is.
that water did not come
No.
gushing back in the way they expected it
No.
to. So something happened. I don't know what it was.
Well, it's a blessing because, as I said, I mean, they didn't. But the Texas thing was just no one ever even believed that was going to happen the way it did. But I think just the fact that I think, if nothing else, you walk away knowing that the good people in this world, in this country.
Well, in this country
Are-
and this community,
in this
because that's the
community.
ones that I got to experience firsthand.
Exactly.
The good people of this community that, and it was almost surreal, because we've had a string of just gorgeous days. Now,
Oh my gosh,
it's raining
yeah.
out today, but to be sitting there watching
Yeah.
such devastation while it's 70 degrees and not a cloud in the sky,
Yeah.
you almost feel, I don't know if
Guilty.
guilty was a word.
do
Is that the
feel
word?
guilty.
I mean, I
Yeah.
was like, I had the TV on in the other room, and I was, I think Sunday was the day the storm was really hitting
Yeah.
Florida pretty bad, and I was like, okay, should I be sitting outside? Should I be sitting inside? I really, it's
Well, you
almost
do.
too nice
I
to
mean-
watch TV, but I feel bad enjoying a beautiful day while I was like a caged animal. I really
know.
didn't know what to do.
You don't, because because you know what's happening to everybody down there. And I had a lot of friends in Florida, which I was in touch with, and just realizing what they were going through and looking to where were they going to go, and I'm thinking, I'm sitting here just I'm
Got the life of Riley.
a happy camper, and
But it's a testament to the good people of not only Anderson Township, but Southwest Ohio. We really are fortunate in the
We are.
fact that we have so many good people living here that are so generous, that opened up their belongings, and not just to me by any stretch, because Shane, you were up at Matthew 25 early on. I think you were the first guy up there covering Matthew 25, and it is never slow up there. There's a constant flow
Yeah,
of
it
cars,
is. Yeah.
and that's just a testament to the people that are showing up, donating. And now the challenge becomes, let's keep that going.
yeah.
How do we keep that
How do you
going?
keep that going? That's the thing that I guess more than anything else, and today especially, because it just gets uglier and uglier and uglier, and you just think, how do we get that back? How do we regenerate that again? And you don't want it to be another disaster to have it happen, but
No.
but it's just the thought that it can, and there are people there that will help and will do things, and it's just people helping people. So it is.
You know, and we have, like, locally, for example, we've started, now this has been a year now, we have a page called Anderson, Mount Washington, Helping a Neighbor. If you put the link on the page, I'd appreciate it. But we have a Facebook page that we've had for about a year now, where it's much in that vein. If you know somebody in need or that needs help, you know, just reach out to us and we try to coordinate. We've helped a lot of, I think we've talked about it before, we've helped a lot of either elderly and some veterans that needed something as simple as grass cutting, which as a township we can't do. If we can organize a neighbor to go over there and help that person, it really solves a lot of problems before the neighbor, you know, has to complain to the township in regards to high grass or a maintenance issue or a gutter hanging off of a house. We're able to we try to harness that spirit of cooperation and good neighborliness to organize people to help your neighbor, rather than, you know, call the township and have us have to go through the lengthy and laborious process of, you know, declaring it a violation, a zoning violation of some fashion. And what's the point? The point is you want to get the grass cut, right? Right. So it might be easier if we had this, and we do have it set up, and we've had pretty good response to it, but we're always looking for more, because there's people that in this community always have needs.
They always have needs, which is why this is such a good community.
It is.
And it's typical, but it's really an extra good community. So
I think so.
Well, you know what? We're out of time.
It's not possible.
It is. I know. I don't know where the time goes.
I didn't even know what we were going to talk about.
You know what? It was good, because I think we need to be reminded that there's a lot of good left in this world.
We
and
do.
A lot of good things going on, and you know, we're in the third quarter or fourth quarter of the year.
Yeah, things are going well. Things are going briefly. If we have time, we can edit this out, however you want to do it. But briefly, we're ahead of revenues and behind on expenses, if that makes sense to you. Yep. We're getting in a little more revenues than we forecast, and our expenses are a little less than we forecast, which is usual here in the township. Things are going very well. It is an election year coming up. That will be fun. I'm looking forward to having a good and spirited election cycle. But right now, I'm really, with everything going on, I'm putting that aside for right now and just focusing on trying to do as much good as we can, because we're able to. And if I can help people, help a neighbor or do good or donate something or get some food down to the first responders or people in need in Florida or Texas, and by God, it's more important for me to put my resources into doing that than to maybe sending out a political mailer of some fashion that really doesn't help anybody.
And the recovery is the toughest part. I mean, the initial you know, event itself is something, but the recovery, because, you know, the news is no longer really paying attention.
News isn't around.
They're not around.
When all that trash is piled up on the curb,
Yeah.
and you're trying to clean out your house and you're shoveling muck out of your rooms, the news isn't around anymore because the water's gone.
Water's gone.
But that's when the hard work really begins.
And this is the hardest part, I think, for everybody.
By far, because in Florida right now, there's still millions of people without electricity.
Yep.
I saw some heartbreaking reports about some nursing homes that were without power, that the residents were suffering. And guess what? It's hot in Florida.
Yes.
It's very difficult to live down there without electricity. Now, I know, for example, one area, the forecast is that they're not going to get their power back on for another 2 weeks.
Well, yeah,
now, that's the way it goes. We had massive amounts of damage. But that doesn't make living there any easier. And those people need help. They need generators. They need volunteers. They need resources. And, you know, we need to remember that, as you said, once the water goes away, the rebuilding and the hard part begins. The hard part. It's slow and long and laborious. And laborious part. And it's people. My word of the day. I like that. Thank you. I'll remember that. Thank you. You're welcome. I enjoyed it. It's always a pleasure. It really is. I love it. It's good, and thank you for what you did.
And what everybody did. I mean, I think that's
thank
the key.
them. Thank those people right there.
People out there who did it, and we do thank you for that and for what you did to help in this process. And there's still a lot of need out there. So don't forget, and I guess if they got stuff, they can still bring it.
We are not, I've been asked that countless times, as long as someone is willing to donate something, and if I make it easier to facilitate that. Oh, one final note, one of the middle schools I've been contacted, they are gathering items. And I'm going to take the Pappas mobile, as it's called, and we are going to roll over there one day with the kids, and we're going to load up the ambulance, and we're going to take it over to Matthew 25 and help them. Those kids, through their generosity, have brought stuff, and we're going to take that over to Matthew 25.
That's going to be
I
great.
can't wait to do that. That's going to be
Which will be great for them.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic for them. It's going to be a hoot. I just can't wait to do it.
That's exciting.
You know what? Kids seeing when you see kids get excited about being involved in their community and being generous. That's really cool.
That is cool.
It is cool.
That is cool.
Because unfortunately, we see too many examples. Maybe we don't think of children be involved in that, but they can be more generous than anyone because they're pure of heart.
They are, because they haven't
been corrupted yet.
They haven't been corrupted by adult.
Give it time. I mean, they're young.
I know. That's the unfortunate part.
Of getting old.
Of getting old.
So innocent. And then
whoa,
it changes.
it gets so, everybody gets so tainted, but God bless them.
And I can't wait. Shane, I'll try to give you the heads up on that because I would love to have that documented. The kids of Forest Hills helping out the school district. That would be awesome.
That would be great.
And I'm looking, this is what it's all about.
It is.
And we're entering in, and when this airs, Halloween will be coming up, then Thanksgiving. What a better way to give thanks.
Time. Yeah.
And
there'll still be needs.
And there'll still be needs.
There will still be needs.
Right. Did I mention it was election time?
Yeah,
okay.
I think you did. I've known you a long time. I don't think I've seen you this happy in a long time.
You know what?
It's refreshing.
Truthfully, when you help people, I mean, this is going to sound hokey.
No,
it is. It's going to sound
feeling in the world.
Trust me, because I know there's a lot of people out there that might not believe this. But when you help people, you're not helping people. You're really helping yourself.
You are.
And a lot of people just don't get that.
No, they don't. But it's true.
No, I am not the Grinch, and my heart hasn't grown 3 sizes. Did I know it? Do I have a heart? But it really sets your priorities straight.
Well, you know what? It makes you rethink.
It does.
Your priorities.
It does.
And that's, we all need to do that once in a while.
Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a tragedy to make you reevaluate where you're at.
And unfortunately, it doesn't last. That's the only
And that's
bad part
the other,
about it.
unfortunately, it doesn't last.
But we do thank you.
Like this show,
that's right.
It comes to an end.
It does come to an end. And I think we probably
Shane's going to edit it 5 minutes ago.
He's going to be editing this thing. But you know what? It was worth it. I enjoyed it, and I think everybody out there did too. And thanks to everybody for what you did again. And I thank you for joining us for this Trustee Talk and making us part of your day. And we hope that you enjoy the rest of your day and that you take a look. And if you have an opportunity, if there's something you can still do, there's time to do it, and there's still a need. So please do that. In the meantime, I'm Dick Murgatroyd, and on behalf of our producer-director and now editor, Shane Reinert, we invite you to join us for our next edition of Trustee Talk here on ACTV, and I guess we'll be talking to Dee Stone when we come back. So in the meantime, take care. We'll see you then.